All right, welcome everybody. We're going to give it a couple minutes to kick this off here. Let a few more folks get on the call. All right, so as you are coming on, if you don't mind, go into the chat and just typing what market you're located in, and just a Y if you can hear my audio okay. All right, we got Lewis in the house. Kevin, welcome, welcome. We're gonna get started here in just a couple of minutes. Right, go to the chat if you're just joining us here, and just type what market you're in, where you're from, and a Y if you can hear the audio okay. All right, we got folks joining. Welcome, welcome. Chris, Grace, Kevin, welcome. Honored to have you here. Cody, how you doing this afternoon?
No, I'm doing great. It's a, sunny day here in Denver, enjoying the fall colors, all that. Staying busy, loving life, all that good stuff. But
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we have a good treat in store here. So I think part of the audience here is from you, Cody, and also part of my audience as well. And so our goal here today, guys and gals, is just to provide as much value as we can. And so I want to be super respectful of your time and kind of get right into it. We're going to give it another maybe 1 or 2 minutes, and we're going to dive right in. So if you're just joining us, my name is Stephen Howell. Welcome. We have Cody Lee on the line here from Leadvine, and really excited what we're going to share with you today. So if you're just joining, make sure you got the audio cranked up nice, and head over to the chat, and we'd love to hear from you. Type in the market that you're in, and just a Y or thumbs up or something, just letting us know that you can hear everything okay. And then at the end, we should go for about 60 minutes here. And at the end, we are going to have a 10 or 15-minute Q&A. So any questions along the way, please go ahead and type your question in the chat. And then when we get to the end at the Q&A, we want to make sure to be able to address any of those questions. Right, Kevin, Chris, Grace, Louise, Tom, welcome, welcome. Glad to have you here today. And Cody, do you have access to the chat over there? I know as I get going here in the presentation, if you see anything in there, let me know. But I just wanted to make sure with the whole Zoom thing that you have access as well, brother.
I don't see any chat messages popping up for me. I see that Kevin waved. Uh, there's a
Okay.
little emoji beside Kevin's name, but that's all I see right now.
Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right, everybody. Well, we are going to dive in here. So, welcome this afternoon, and glad to have you on the call here. And so, as you can kind of see here, the topic today is how to build a profitable real estate acquisitions business step by step in today's market as we head into 2025. So, my name is Stephen Howell. We have Cody. Whoops. We have Cody Lee on the line here from Leadvine. And here is just a snippet of what we're going to cover. So we're going to cover how to do this without all the risk and overhead to mitigate that risk where and when we can. The three most important things to have a thriving acquisitions company, how to get a massive quick win and a cash injection into your business, the missing ingredient for success, and what you can do if your business maybe just isn't consistent yet, or maybe you haven't yet done your first deal. You've gotten close a few times, or you've tried some marketing and it hasn't quite stuck. So I want to speak to that and share some real wisdom that has worked for me over the last decade, that I know will make an impact in your life and business. We're going to talk about how to speed up the timeline and the rate of your success. And actually, before I go any further here, I just want to say that, like, you coming on this webinar in the middle of the afternoon, taking time out of your work schedule, taking time away from your family, or maybe you're catching this. We may, in fact, do a replay. We like to just do these live because it's so fun to be able to come out here and interact. But just, we do not take it lightly, you investing your time here. So I just first want to say that, honored for you to be here. The goal is to truly bring some value to you today, and we're excited to do that. So I sent this email out to my database. I've had a newsletter in this real estate space for over 10 years. And so aside from a couple of the bullet points, I also, for those of you maybe from Cody's ecosystem, I wanted to share with you just maybe another way to look at this. So we are going to talk today about the power of niche data, okay? There's a saying, the riches are in the niches, and I was blessed to have some wonderful mentors early on, that really taught me the power of going deep while everyone else is going wide, zigging while everyone else is zagging. And, as you see on my screen here, the way we get data in real estate investing has definitely changed. I got started in 2009. I've been doing real estate investing full time since 2011. And technology has improved. It's changed at a lightning pace. Data has improved. Analytics has improved. AI is on the scene. Predictive models. And we have to understand, in my opinion, how these things work. But, and the big but to that is that we have to keep things simple and easy and practical, or else we really can't tap into the power of these things. And so that's why I'm so excited to bring out Cody and what he's been doing and show you how he has really harnessed the power of niche data. And in my opinion, when this clicks, it is game on. There's a lot of opportunity at hand. And I think with this combination of, niche data and the things that I'll be talking about, there's a really powerful combination that you can use to your advantage in the marketplace to make an impact, to help people, and to do a lot of real estate business. So if that sounds like something that speaks to your heart, I'm glad you're here. And even if it doesn't, I would encourage you to hang with us because we're going to talk about some powerful things here. So I just want to make sure as I'm getting rolling, Cody, can you still hear me okay? Can you still see the screen? Anybody in the chat, if you want to give a Y or a thumbs up, I just want to make sure audio's coming through. And please, we'd love to hear from you. So we want this to be interactive. If you have any questions along the way, please, please, please go ahead and put them in the chat. Type out where you're from. And yeah, Cody, just want to make sure you can hear me okay, brother.
No, I can hear you okay. I did get a message from Kevin Robinson. I think it was a direct message, but it looks like chat wasn't enabled for him. Can we double check that?
Yeah, let's see what we got here. Bum, bum, bum. All right. Now, I am not the most tech savvy person in the world. So how, Cody, in your wisdom, do you know how to enable chat on Zoom here?
I think maybe I would need to be the host. I'm not sure, but I am getting the Q&A. So if someone wants to send maybe a Q&A, that could be a way to do that.
Okay.
Because I am getting the Q&A. So Kevin sent a second message and I got that. So I am getting messages from folks when they send it directly to me. Are you seeing the messages on your end?
All right. Attendees can chat with, okay, host and panel, everyone. Okay. So I
Yeah,
believe,
Grace also said that.
okay. So I believe I just enabled the chat for everyone. So sorry about that, everyone. Not the biggest Zoom expert here, but let's go ahead and test that and see if that works.
There we go. All right.
Oh,
Thanks, Kevin,
all
for
right.
catching that, and also Grace for doing that too. Thank you guys.
Yes, appreciate that so much. All right, Cody. So I want to introduce you, man. Really appreciate you coming out from lovely Denver, Colorado to join us this afternoon. For those of you who don't know Cody, Cody, you want to just take maybe a couple minutes, share, and share just a little bit about yourself and Leadvine. And then later in the presentation, here in about 20, 30 minutes, want to bring you out to really, kind of talk about, things at an even deeper level. So over to you, brother.
Yeah, so I started real estate about 8 years ago, and I was brought on as an acquisitions manager. I was having trouble closing deals at first, but it wasn't until I really started deep diving into niches when I actually started getting traction. We actually still have an investment company based out of Oregon that are actively doing deals. A lot of what, we're going to discuss today and a lot of the wisdom that I'm sure, you have as well that we'll talk about actually does work, actually does close deals, and niche data is an integral part of that. Um, I'm excited, man. I've closed over a couple hundred real estate transactions in my time doing investment deals. Now I'm all in on data. I just love data. I'm kind of a nerd. I like spreadsheets, so that's kind of what I'm doing now. So once we're able to kind of get data dialed in our local market we spread nationwide, and so now we're doing data nationwide. But in terms of the care and attention we put into every single area, we do it as if we were aggregating it for ourselves because we literally are in some markets. Um, but yeah, niche data, it's just night and day difference in terms of, cost per deal, being able to locate true motivation consistently, and then also, getting to the point where you become kind of a presence in your local market. It's just a massive advantage to be able to leverage it that way. Um, so yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to kind of dive in here and hopefully answer some questions and all of that. But yeah.
Awesome, Cody. Well, I appreciate that intro, and we're honored to have you here. So, if you don't mind, man, please hang tight with us, and I want to kind of bring you back on here in just in just a few. So we are going to dive in. Cody and I do have something special for those of you who stick around to the very end. I know that sounds cheesy, but we truly do. And also just would want to interact with you. Any questions we can answer live. We're going to do a good 10, 15-minute Q&A. So put your questions in the chat and make sure you hang on to the end so we can kind of go through those questions and get you some answers there. So this particular webinar is going to be for kind of the spectrum here. So if you're brand new and you're extremely serious about really get your not just taking in information, but you're looking to get into action mode and you are tired of dinking and dunking around and you are ready to see real results in this. Or maybe you're an intermediate investor. Maybe you've done a few, whether you're a landlord, a rehabber, a wholesaler, you've done a couple deals here and there. Maybe you used to do a few deals years ago and you're kind of now getting back into it. You don't have the systems or consistency maybe that you desire. Also there's been a huge wave, I'd say the last 48 months or so that I've, not 48, 24 months that I've seen personal friends and just around the country doing this real estate agents who see the massive opportunity in executing on the investing side of the business. So if that's you, I'm so glad you're here. Now, as I reflect back on my journey, let me know if this sounds familiar. Type a yes or a Y in the chat. You may have heard, there's more millionaires created in real estate than any other industry. Real estate is a viable option. Maybe you have family or friends who have a bunch of rentals or have some Airbnbs. You've seen the case studies, you've seen the testimonials. It's possible, and you are pretty darn committed to pursuing it yourself and for your family. But maybe you're sick and tired of just like wasting time, wasting money, and like I said, kind of dinking and dunking around, or that's what it feels like at least. You're putting in your heart, your effort, and it's just not quite sticking for whatever reason. And you're sick and tired of not getting those results. Maybe you see other people, whether it's in different Facebook investing groups you're part of, or whether it's on YouTube or TikTok or podcasts you listen to, Instagram, they're doing deals and they're growing, and you're like, what? I'm not that dumb of a person. Like, what are they doing that I'm not doing? And maybe you feel like you're chasing too many rabbits. You're doing too many things. You're burning yourself out, and you're wondering where the next deal is going to come from. Some months you're doing a handful of deals, and other months you're like, where is my next deal going to come from? And every 6 months, there's a new fad, a new marketing opportunity or way that you hear real estate investors are getting deals, and it's just kind of makes your stomach churn. It's like, okay, here's another little wave. Like, does that really work? Is that real? Is that really going to help my family? I know because I've been there. Like I said, I got started in May of 2009. I went full time July of 2011 and have been full time ever since. So with those thoughts in mind, what I want to share something. I love the word metamorphosis, which is really transformation. And it's said that metamorphosis is a complete change in attitude, character, and circumstances. And so as I think about this with an investor, with a home buyer, with the business that they either currently have or they desire to create, I want you just to think for a moment here as I go through these next couple slides, just like really be honest with yourself. It's not about impressing, anyone, but just truly thinking about the type of business that you want that's going to serve you and your family. I want you to think about that for a second. Like, you don't want to build a business that you are a slave to. You don't want to build a business that you have kind of trapped yourself in. And there's under the umbrella of real estate, there's a lot of different styles and types of businesses. And we're going to talk about that, and I want to share some very practical things. So for those of you maybe who are from Cody's audience, or for those of you maybe who are newer to my email newsletter, I know some of you have been on there for 10 years, but I want to give you a brief introduction about myself. I don't like talking a ton about myself, but for those of you who don't know me, my name is Stephen Howell. I used to work at Fidelity Investments, a financial institution, and I was a shy, timid office worker. I've already shared with you, I've been doing this since 2009. I've been doing it full time since 2011, and niche leads like probate leads have been my top lead source and just a consistent weapon, so to speak, in my arsenal since then. And it's been very, very consistent. And so I've created one of the top videos on YouTube in terms of wholesaling real estate. And so that has grown to organically over 178,000 views. As I turned on the camera back in September of 2014, I had a lot of people like, Steve, how are you doing these larger spread probate deals? And I had a mentor at the time that's like, prove, like, if you're like considering coaching or consulting people, like, prove to them that you can help them by actually helping them. Like, don't be afraid to share your best secret, so to speak. So I was like, okay. So I turn on the camera and I just for 2 hours talk about how I'm working probate leads. Like, I share the letter, I share like everything I'm doing. It was an hour and 46 minutes. The audio wasn't great. I had a little headset on. It looked like I was in like my mother's basement or something. And I look back and I kind of cringe, but it started to go viral. And, I really think the reason behind that is because just sharing truly what was working. And so, anyways, there's a clip of that. The views are now over 178,000. So it's been over a decade since I posted that. And so since then, I've been working with people one-on-one around the country, kind of helping them build their real estate investing businesses. And so prior to that, I've over the years, and I still have my own local investing business here in Dayton, Ohio. So I've been doing that all these years, and it's been a ton of fun. I've produced hundreds of hours of content. And for really the last 10, 11, 12 years, I've been on a mission to really help people grow their businesses and eliminate that learning curve. So if any of you are interested, I record a little documentary with my wife and I kind of sharing our journey in this, and you get to hear from her and, kind of when I left the corporate world and stuff. So you can take a little picture of this with your phone. I don't want to spend any more time on me, but just if anybody is interested, that's where you can connect with me, stephenhowellmentoring.com, and everything. So my why is picture my wife and family and kids. So my biggest why is, my faith. I want to honor God with what I do, and I want to help people add value in the local real estate business, solve problems, help sellers, work with buyers, title companies, attorneys, all of those things. And then I desire to have a measure of freedom and to be able to travel. And my wife homeschools our kids, and to be able to show up for their events. And I have a passion for building up men and women and helping them to grow their confidence and empowering them and serving. And so that is kind of my why of why I do what I do. And these are just real pictures of clients over the last 10 years that have been able to have an impact. And this is nothing special about me, but I just want you to see the real faces of folks that I've worked with who have implemented what we're talking about today, who have gotten real results and who have changed their life. And some of these folks are doing amazing things. And so I just want you to know that if they can do it, if I can do it, my friend, it is so, so, so possible for you. So it's just a little snippet there. So if you are, whether you're an existing investor, wholesaler, rehabber, landlord, real estate agent, or you don't even have a business yet, and you're truly considering, maybe you've been watching YouTube University and you're looking for a predictable way to generate deals and explode your business, 15, 20, 25,000 a month, then you are in the right place. And I'm going to share with you just a couple of quick case studies here. This is not to boast about me. I, again, want you to know just real people that have followed the process that we're going to talk about with niche data. And these are real results that they got. And so I'm going to breeze through these pretty quickly because I want to get into some tactical, step by step, and just practical stuff. I want Cody to be able to share, what we got going on, and just, some wisdom there as well. So Elizabeth, she was in a health coaching program that she owned. She got out of that. She had no real estate experience, and within 5 weeks, she was able to do her first large spread wholesale deal, 23,777. So interesting number there. And she just followed this step by step by step. And this came from niche data, following the process that we outline for probate. And so I don't know if you'll be able to hear this, but I'm just going to play like maybe 15 seconds of this, but this is her kind of talking about her experience.
I just wanted to take a few minutes to share a little bit about my experience in working in the program with Stephen. It's been an incredible process so far, and I don't even think I'm 2 months in. And I just this last week closed my first deal, where the assignment fee, the wholesale fee that we received, was just under 24,000. It was 23,700 dollars for my first deal. And I believe that from the start of marketing to the close of the deal was 4 to 5 weeks. So needless to say, working with Stephen, I've gotten incredible results. And a little bit of my story and my background: I have zero background in real estate. And when my first letters hit the mailbox, and emails went out and phone calls and things, that was my very first efforts I've ever done in my entire life in real estate. I'm transitioning out of a small health coaching business.
All right, so I won't keep playing that, but again, I just wanted you to hear her words from it. Ryan and Eric, these are two one-on-one clients of mine who partnered up, and this is back in 2022. They're now doing real estate nationwide. They do a lot of novations, but this is just a little bit sharing some of the wins that they were experiencing, and when they really hit their traction, they had their first $53,000 a month, which made up four kind of larger spread wholesale deals when they were focusing on the probate on niche data. They were doing probate and a couple of the other niches we were talking about. Blair Clark, she now leads a RIA club in the Detroit, Michigan market. Her and her husband, they flip houses. I just wish them a happy anniversary. She graduated from my program 3, 4, 5 years ago. Now she has a podcast, leads a RIA club in Detroit. Her and her husband flip a ton of houses, wholesale a ton of houses, and they do amazing things. And their bread and butter is still niche real estate deals. And so I have a 50-minute interview here. If you go to go.stephenhowmentoring Blair Clark, you can see that interview. So and then I'll kind of skip through some of these. Coleco in North Carolina. We have Brandon. He's a rock star in Delaware. He has his own real estate investor Facebook group now and does tons and tons of business, all sorts of real estate deals. Wilbert Curry in Memphis, Tennessee. And so different people from different backgrounds, and kind of the common theme and something that I've been called to serve is like, you know, doing this like real estate business. Yes, it's a real business. We need to treat it like a real business, invest into the business, but there's a lot of ways in this business to burn through a lot of cash, to be reckless. And so being lean, being resourceful, being just getting into profit mode. I'm really, really, really passionate about that. So a lot of these folks, when they started working with me, they're focused on niche data. They didn't have a ton of marketing dollars. And so I just want you to kind of, and some had marketing dollars, but even with that, we need to have a plan. And so anyways, I just wanted to share some of those backgrounds. So kind of back to the whole investor metamorphosis thing. What type of real estate business do you, listening to this, what do you want to build? Are you flipping houses? Are you, taking down long-term rentals? Are you wholesaling and assigning? Are you wholetailing? Are you doing creative finance and terms deals? Are you an agent or a broker? Or maybe you're into Airbnbs. And, especially if you're new, there's a lot of darn choices, right? Like, are you, maybe you've done some deals, maybe you've kind of done a little bit of all of it. Are you a jack of all trades and a master of nothing? I know I fell into that category for a little bit, like, man, like trying a little bit of everything. And that can be exhausting, right? So just some encouragement as you are, thinking through this investor side of the business, right? In today's market. Depending on who you talk to, right? The market is beginning to turn. It's not the same market it was in 2017 or 2019 or 2020, or already has, right? The market is different. The economy is spotty. Inflation is crazy. Recessions and downturns, just like when I got started, right, in 2009, are great times to buy. Zig while everyone else is zagging. As the market shifts, right, as you may hear things in the real estate investing industry about wholesaling, about different things, it's taking some of the competition out, right? So for those that are, zigging while everyone else is zagging, there is a great opportunity. And so I just want to encourage you that this is your time. As we round out of 2024 into 2025, the market is very much primed for an investor tidal wave. And so I just want to encourage you to think different, to just really draw that line in the sand of like, I am going to niche down. I'm going to commit to learning the skills. It's not just about the magic lead source or, this or that. It's a commitment to yourself for results, a commitment to learning the skills and the power in creating your own pipeline of deals to cherry pick from, regardless of what your exit strategy is. Is this resonating, guys? Go to the chat, type in a Y. Let me know if this is resonating. Cody, can you still hear me okay, brother?
Yeah, I can. And I guess while people are kind of digesting what you talked about, 100%, it is a competitive market. Niching down is the way to go. And one thing is, it isn't the same market. I would say I had an easier time closing deals about a few years ago than in today's climate. But one thing that hasn't changed is rapport, right? People want to work with people they like. That's something that has not changed and will never change, right? So if you can get people to like you, they're more likely to work with you. And how do you do that, right? Well, the first thing is, you want to make sure that you are doing your homework, right? You know what they're going through. If you're targeting probate, right, you can reach out as an expert in that space where you say, hey, I work with families in probate all the time. I'm here local in the area. I specifically target, basically real property and help people decide what to do with that. I assume, are you probably going to keep it in the family? And by starting the conversation by assuming they're going to keep it in the family, it opens up an amazing opportunity to have a discussion with them. I don't want to go on too long of a tangent, but it's
That's
such
so
a
powerful.
huge value. Yeah. It's
I
massive because it
yeah.
disarms them, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I love that, Cody. That is something you guys want to write down. We've been reaching out to probate attorneys and the executors of these estates, and that is one way to stand out. That if you have any competition, you're not going to be the only one reaching out to probates. There's going to be a lot less competition than maybe other niches, but that is going to be one way that you are going to stand out. So I couldn't agree more. That's so good.
It might sound counterintuitive, but when you push for the no, you actually end up getting a lot more yeses. And here's what I mean by that. When you assume that they're going to go a route that doesn't include selling as is to you, first of all, it's going to remove all pressure. Any
Yep.
any implications in your voice, any energy, it's just you're going to have less pressure, right? You're going to talk with them. You're literally all about how do I provide value to you? How do I get you to get basically your end goal, your desired end goal. It doesn't matter what I want, it matters what you want, right? That's what I'm doing.
Mhm.
I'm a resource for you. I'm working with you in probate. And so when you start off saying, hey, if you do keep it in the family, here are things I would tell my mother, right? And I literally use this line. These are what I would things I would tell my mother. If you're going to fix up the property, make sure you get 3 contractors' bids for every single repair you do.
Mhm.
Right? That's a big one. And a lot of people don't think about that. They're like, oh, well, can't I just hire someone to subcontract out or contract out this work and then I'll, get it done. It's not as simple as that because some contractors are really busy, right? And they might actually
Yeah.
overcharge or bid you high because they only have a few slots left and they want to see if you'll just pay for it, right? They want to see if you'll pay more to give up their valuable last spots, right? Other people might just bid high to see if you'll pay for it, and then if they get the contract or the work, then they'll just they get more money, right? And then other
Mhm.
people who are trying to be more cognizant of your budget, cognizant of pricing, and trying to offer a fair price will offer considerably lower. I like to use anecdotal experiences if you have any about this, but if not, then you can say your friend Cody had this experience. So we
Yes.
were doing a house in Hayward, California,
Hmm.
and I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Bay Area, but there are tons of earthquakes. And the house was built on a brick foundation, which is really not a good idea in an earthquake zone because the house literally will fall apart. And this house was literally falling apart. You could see like big cracks in the drywall, and the foundation was coming apart. But anyway, one of the main repairs we needed to make was essentially replacing the foundation with a slab. And it was a big job. So we got 3 bids. The first
Hmm.
one was about 80K. The second one was 120K, and the third one was 60K.
Wow.
So let that sink in. Same exact job.
Yeah.
Same exact job. If we hadn't gotten 3 bids and we had just gone with the first one, we would have paid 80K. But what if we happened to go to the second contractor first and didn't know, and he quoted
Right.
us at 120K? We literally paid 60K more than we needed to. It's absolutely absurd. Now there are some things to look out for too. I don't know if there might be some newer investors, there might be some more established investors. But for those who are newer, if you are going to actually flip the property, make sure that the contractors are licensed, bonded, and insured, because all of that's super important. There are going to be some people who offer contracted work, but they're not actually licensed, and then you can actually be liable if you end up getting those repairs done. So what I'm telling you right now, seriously, write this stuff down because this knowledge is so freaking important when you talk with people on the phone. It's going to distinguish you from VAs, right? There are massive companies that have a
Absolutely.
wide spread. They're going to be calling everybody in the market all the time, and they're already hounded by people saying, "Oh, we buy houses for cash." But they're
Mhm.
not used to people coming at it from the human perspective where they're like, hey, these are things I would tell my mother. These are things to look out for. This is how you protect yourself. This is how you get the most out of your inheritance, which is huge. As soon as you start throwing money into the equation and helping them maximize their inheritance, they start paying attention.
Yeah. Oh, Cody, that is good. And he is exactly right, guys. Write this down. I absolutely love those are just very simple, subtle things you can say with a little inflection and tonality in your voice that shows you care. And it is absolutely going to make you stand out. So I love that, man. Um, so, and I appreciate the story too about the foundation because, yeah, man, like I can imagine California. I've had clients do a lot of business in Sacramento and LA. I personally haven't done, I don't do business out there, but I can imagine with all the earthquakes and things that can be a challenging dynamic at play. So,
Yeah,
um,
it's fun. And the
so
house was falling apart.
yeah. So for those of you who are like considering what business, so something that I love that I'm passionate about, I do love wholesaling houses, assigning contracts, learning the skill of sourcing great deals, helping sellers save time and money on fees associated with their properties, offering speed and convenience. There are a lot of houses, especially that are inherited, that are like almost like hoarder houses. They're very, very dated. The family is a little embarrassed. They may not want to put it on the MLS. Wholesaling and signing doesn't have the overhead that other business models have. Well, if you're flipping houses or other types of business models, there's still investment, right? There's still treating it as a real business. But it's also great helping other investors get amazing deals. And one of my favorite parts is just the relationships with end buyers. Some of my best investor relationships have come from serving other investors in my market some amazing deals. And they're like, Steve, you keep serving, and then we'll go out to lunch. And then like we have this kind of bond. I've served them 3, 4, 5 deals. They've made a great profit. I've made great profit. And it kind of injects you into the market. And so it's just a great way to source your own deals, to create a pipeline, to cherry pick from those. Somebody termed or coined the term keep the best and wholesale the rest. And I love that, kind of aspect of things. It's not the only way to slice it, but so as you're just thinking through different avenues that you can go in this. So if you master the art of acquiring deeply discounted real estate, in my opinion, you will never go hungry. Whether you're in a booming economy or a recession, it is absolutely a skill. It is it is your capital machine and something that you are able to cherry pick. Like I talked about, it introduces you to the players in your market in a very intimate way, and just mastering the art of the buy of getting great deals on the front end. It enables you to be effective in every other exit strategy that you're going to do. So, the three most important things to have a thriving, in my opinion, a thriving real estate acquisitions company is you need to have the right data, the right marketing, and the right follow through. And I want you to write that down. The right data, the right marketing, and the right follow through. And it has to be done consistently. Okay. And so, as we talk about the right data, Cody, this is when I want to bring you back on here in just a second, man. And what you just shared was so valuable. So, in my opinion, distressed data is the best. Niche data, niche down, go deep, not wide, zig while everyone else zags. So, whether it's probate, eviction, code violations, pre-foreclosures, divorce, bankruptcy, child support liens, niche data is really just it's not a magic bullet. You still have to, as Cody shared some wisdom of do your research and provide value and come at it from a helpful angle. But it is so powerful. So Cody, I mean, let's chat a little bit about some of the niche data in your experience, just that has served you well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, probate far and away is top performer for me throughout my entire career, and continues to be for our clients and our company in Oregon. Probate is the way I like to picture probate is it's almost always someone inheriting real property that they didn't want. There are going to be exceptions, but generally they don't really want the property. And so what their goal is how do I maximize, my inheritance? How do I maximize this for my family? How do I maximize this for, the heirs of the estate, right? That's typically what's going through the mind of an executor. Um, and probate is just a crazy opportunity. Because if you think about it, if someone is later in life, right, and they own property and they're getting to the point where their health starts failing, generally the last thing that they're going to be worried about is maintenance on the property, right? They're going to be worried about medical care, right? They're going to be worried about their family. They want to make sure that their family is taken care of, right? They're going to start liquidating assets. They're going to start doing stuff. And if they don't plan ahead at all, then that, is going to leave a bigger burden on their family. So either way, there's going to be probably some pretty big distress in sense of any real property that's owned.
Mhm.
Most probated real property is going to be a bit older. Long-term ownership is very common because a lot of people don't tend to buy properties late in life unless they've already sold their primary home and then moved into a newer home. That is an, that does happen, but the vast majority are going to be deferred maintenance, need work. A lot of them won't qualify for conventional financing, which is huge because if the family does inherit property that doesn't qualify for conventional financing, so for example, if there's a problem with the roof, if there are any, foundation issues, any structural concerns, maybe it needs a new furnace, anything that, makes it so the climate isn't safe or habitable, anything like that is going to basically disqualify it from conventional financing, which essentially means that they're going to either have to sell it on the market for cash or off the market for cash. They're not going to be able to get a traditional loan for the property. There are some exceptions with, a renovation loan and some lenders will do creative loans, but even then it's, a higher interest rate and you generally need to refinance pretty quickly in order to get a better rate once you get it done. Um, so think about it from, the perspective of someone going through probate. They've inherited property, they want to maximize their profit, but it needs a lot of work, right? Some of these might be time sensitive, right? If you live in a humid climate, water damage, it's going to get worse the longer they sit on it. So go all in on that. If you're in a humid region, think about it. Like use your brain, think about it, think about the market, think about these things because this does matter, right? You talk about, the situation from a practical sense. Most sellers are not used to marketers talking this way. They're just not. Because
Yep.
most people are trying to like say, oh, we buy as is for cash. We're the best, option for you. We've got all of these benefits. We cover all closing costs. No commissions. We can close on your timeline, which are all good things to highlight, but that shouldn't be your main shtick. Your main shtick should be you're a person, I'm a person. I know, what I'm doing. I've been in this industry for a while. I can provide value to you regardless of what your option is. If you happen to want to sell it as is for cash, boy, I got you, right?
Mhm.
That kind of stuff makes all the difference in the world. And so, think about it. If you're in a humid climate, water damage is going to be a bigger issue. And then you say, hey, I noticed that, the roof hasn't been replaced for a while. I drove by the property. I saw signs of, water damage. This is going to get worse over time. And I know you want to probably get as much out of the property as possible, to help you and your family with whatever inheritance. So, the longer you sit on this property, of course, the worse the problem gets, and that actually eats into your equity. So the longer you wait to sell, the less money you get, essentially, right? And that's a very real thing, right? Maybe you don't have the same thing in a drier climate, but maybe there's an issue with the siding. Maybe if it's a stucco home, it's starting to crack or whatever, it needs, redoing. Um, maybe you're in a less populous area, so the chances of the person being able to, rent it out for a good rate is lower. So really they need to think about either moving into the property or selling it, right? If you're not in a good rental market. Um, and a lot of people too, they actually will go into it thinking, oh, I want to hold on to this property, right? I want to keep it as a rental. And you should, support that. Say, okay, great. If that's what you want to do, awesome. Here are some things to consider if you do this. So if you move into the property, think about any repairs you want to have done before you move in, right? If you want to redo the flooring or paint or, do a kitchen remodel or, anything like that, those are expenses that you want to, consider, right? These are the property taxes. Make sure that you have, money set aside where you can cover the property taxes and, you can cover all of the holding costs associated with moving into the property. Because a lot of people want to move in, but they might not actually have the finances to cover basically the property taxes or if there's still a mortgage on it, right? So they might go in thinking, oh, I want to do this, and then they realize they don't have it in their budget and they have to sell anyway, right? So follow up even after they say they plan on moving in. If they want to keep it as a rental, that oftentimes ends in disaster because if they're not used to being a landlord already, there are a plethora of issues that come from being a landlord, especially if they don't have a property management company. So, maybe the tenant defaults on rent, right? Maybe there needs to be a repair that's costly, and whatever rent they got for the last 6 months goes directly into whatever repair they have to make, right? So all of those things, you talk about this with the heir. You talk about this, you have a conversation and you talk about it because they're not thinking about all these details necessarily. And even if they kind of are in the back of their head, if you bring it to the forefront, it becomes very real to them. And then they start to realize, oh, shoot, I think I do want to sell, right? Because they don't think about all the responsibility that comes with owning real property. They just think, oh, I inherited a house. This is so cool, right? So even though you might have that initial conversation of, we want to keep the property, it doesn't mean it's going to go that direction. If they do want to sell as is, that's an easy conversation. You just talk about all the repairs, talk about, making sure you get a formal inspection to uncover anything that might be hiding under the hood. And then, you can talk about, the benefits of selling as is to you and all that. You kind of go into that spiel. And by that point, they're already bought and paid for it. They trust you. You're providing them a ton of value. So they're much more likely to work with you than someone who's just basically hounding them on a cold calling campaign. If they do want to get top dollar for it, great, awesome. This is what I would tell my mother if she wanted to get top dollar. I would say, renovate the kitchen, renovate bathrooms, redo the flooring, paint, make sure there's a new roof, make sure it qualifies for conventional financing. So replace the furnace if needed, replace the AC unit if it's broken, replace all of those things. It might be, 30, 40, 50K or more to get it done. But once you have all of that done, then you can list it. And then hopefully, you're able to sell pretty quickly to get top dollar.
Mhm.
And then go over that because a lot of people don't think about that. They're like, oh, well, to get top dollar, I have to fix up the property. Yeah. I mean, either
Yeah.
you're going to be selling it as is on the market or you're going to fix it up, right? And to whatever level of renovation you do can determine how quickly it sells and for how much, right? So, if you want to get it to HGTV level quality, which a lot of people it'll resonate with them because everybody's familiar with those shows, it's like, you need to be prepared to pay a lot of money. A lot of those renovation budgets on those shows are for TV. They're not real. The actual renovation budgets are often much higher than the numbers that they say.
Mhm.
And so, you know, it's just an incredible lead source. So for me, probate far and away come across as value driven. Um, there are a few other niches that worked exceptionally well as well. So pre-foreclosure is a huge one. With pre-foreclosure, the lender has basically filed for foreclosure. They served the homeowner with paperwork saying we're gonna start the foreclosure process. Delinquent mortgages are a big deal. They can't go unpaid for too long before a lender has the right to foreclose. So generally, there's going to be a very short window from the time the foreclosure documents are filed to when the person has to sell. So for me, it's a very easy conversation. Talk about price, talk about their goals. If you're gonna list it, make sure it sells before the foreclosure auction, that kind of stuff. Um, and then yeah, you can pretty much see the obvious application there in that, there's financial distress, time sensitive, go all in on providing value and working quickly. And then also give them a deadline. Say, hey, this is the deadline of really, really when you need to consider doing a cash offer. Because if you wait any far past that, then there's a good chance it's going to go to a foreclosure auction. And then, that can hurt your chances of getting a loan in the future. Um, so yeah, pre-foreclosure, super, super useful. Tax delinquency is another one that's huge. I know tax delinquency, a lot of people know about it and they kind of get it. But there's a way to look at tax delinquent data that is really interesting. So if you go on like a list building platform and they have a tax delinquent filter, um, pull a few of those records and just do your own research. Just look at the records at the tax assessors. Take 10 minutes to do this, right? 10 minutes, even five. You could probably do it in 5 minutes. Go through 10 properties on your, tax assessor's website that they say has a tax delinquency or tax lien on it, and actually verify that it does. Because you should be able to tell really quickly if it does. If there's not a search portal online, then call the tax assessor's office and say, hey, I want to check and see if there are any delinquent taxes for these properties. And just say, hey, this is the address And then the tax assessor should be able to easily say, yes, there's a delinquency, no, there's not a delinquency. And what you'll find is if you do this for a few records, you'll see the delinquent amounts are often completely wrong. A lot of the properties won't be delinquent at all. A lot of them will already be paid off. Or maybe it was even sold since the tax delinquency happened and it changed hands and the tax delinquency was taken care of when the property sold out of the equity of the home. And but it's still labeled as tax delinquent. So it may not seem like a big deal, but we've actually seen nationwide virtually 70% of tax delinquent properties on list building software is either slightly delinquent by maybe a few dollars or not at all.
Hmm.
So let that sink in. 70%. Imagine 10,000 properties, right, that are supposedly delinquent. If you do one mailing to 10,000 properties, even a cheap postcard, you're paying like 4 or 5 grand probably, right? On the
Mhm.
low end. And if you want to do high quality mailings, which tend to perform better, you're going to be paying thousands more, right?
Yep.
And the part that really hurts is 70% of whatever you're spending on mailing is completely wasted. Like that's crazy. That's why cheap data is the most expensive data by far. Because, and that's just one mailing. Really, you need to be mailing multiple times to get traction. And if you're cold calling, okay, well, maybe you're not spending a bunch in hard costs, but think about the opportunity costs, right? First of all, you open yourself up to unnecessary risk because, if you happen to call someone who's on the do not call registry or they're, having a really bad day and they decide to take it out on you, that can disrupt your flow. It can open you up to potential liability. It can have people put, basically try to bomb your website by putting negative reviews, like all sorts of stuff. It opens you
Mhm.
up to that. And then also just the opportunity cost, trying to call through 10,000, homeowners, uh, and actually doing a good job where you're actually spending time on each lead to make sure that, you do your best to try to reach them. That's a meaningful impact in your day-to-day flow, your workflow, how much you're able to get done, right? It's not scalable at all, right? So in order to actually find deals, you have to put in hours and hours and hours of work and deal with tons and tons of negative conversations, right? So what I would do is I would take the tax delinquent data, and if you can do this yourself in your market, try to do it. If you can't, then of course we can help you at Leadvine. But go to the tax assessor's office. First of all, see if you can get delinquent data. If you can, ask how updated it is, and then also try to see if it's mail merge ready. So try to make sure that the names are in proper case. They're divided into separate columns. Make sure the property addresses are standardized. That you have a full address, city, state, zip. And if you don't have all of that, then at least have that for the mailing address. If you don't have that, then it's not going to be very useful for a mailing campaign. And if you try to skip trace it, it won't work well, right? You're going to get a lot of wrong numbers and a lot of bad data. Um, so once you're able to get that data and you standardize it, go through every property and get the updated delinquent amounts and the length of delinquency. It sounds arduous. It might take you a few days. It might take a VA a few days. But, if you're able to get it done, do it because it makes all the difference in the world. Because let's say you have a list of 10,000 properties, 70% of them you get rid of immediately because maybe they're just 1 year delinquency or a short delinquency period and only delinquent by like a grand or less, right? Those
Mhm.
people are generally not going to be motivated to work with you. You're going to be wasting your time on those people in general.
Yep.
Um, Now we're saying, okay, so now we only have people that owe, let's say, $3,000 that have at least 2 years of delinquency, right? When you're able to focus on those people, you've forcefully created a data list that has people who are financially distressed in a time-sensitive scenario. Think about that, right? That is 9 day difference. You reach out to these people, even if you have an initial negative reaction, maybe they're stressed, maybe they're having a bad day, but you're not going to say, oh, don't reach out again, unless they tell you not to reach out again. But you're not going to say, oh, this is a dead lead, because you know that they have to take care of these delinquent taxes or they're going to potentially lose their home, right? So what you would normally say is, oh, this is a cold lead, oh, this is a dead lead, right? All of a sudden, you can reframe your entire perspective on data and on the people you're marketing to and say, okay, this was not the right time for them. What I'm going to do is instead of calling them next time, I'm going to send them an invitation envelope with maybe a Starbucks gift card asking them to meet for coffee, right? Like that kind of thing makes all the difference in the world. And this kind of strategy does not make sense for broad data. It does not make sense for high volume lists because you would go broke. You can't do this for high volume lists. It's too expensive. But if you already have the data filtered down to highly motivated, highly distressed people, all of these marketing techniques start to make a lot of sense. Working with people like Stephen Howell, who says, hey, I offer coaching. I can literally give you the blueprint of closing probate deals. That makes sense, right? You're not going to waste your time on, uh, paying a lot for an expensive coaching program and then still having to do the shotgun approach where you just mail, call, I got a complaint here. Oh no, my, VA quit because they didn't like the work. Oh no, my salesperson found a better job that they like more, right? All of a sudden, you get momentum, you build on that momentum. You have people like Stephen Howell who are guiding you, who are helping you close even more deals from the data, and you're unstoppable. You leverage lead vine data with Stephen Howell's coaching. We give you the blueprint like this. We tell you what to do. And if you're consistent, it's very hard to fail. Like it makes all the difference in the world. And that's how you close deals in an increasingly competitive market because you're not playing the game everybody else is doing. You are, zigging while everybody else is zagging, right? I love that terminology. It's such a great perspective because I can tell you firsthand, even our own clients don't do this. I try to tell them, but a lot of people don't listen, right? A lot of people aren't on the webinars right now because they're like, oh, well, I already, do this and I just, I'm very comfortable in what I'm currently doing, right? So I'm just going to continue, doing postcards and I'm going to continue having my VAs do a basic cold calling campaign. And they're completely missing the point. The whole point of niche data, the whole point of coaching is to get rid of all that fluff. I just realized that was a really long tangent, Steve.
I love it, man. I'm eating it up, Cody. Like you just shared some true wisdom there, and so please, guys, we will put together a replay of this so you can see this. There's some gold here, and I encourage you. What Cody shared, and I agree. My best lead source since I've been doing this since 2009, and went full time in 2011 has been probate. But pre-foreclosure, the tax delinquent list, these type of niche lists are so powerful, and Cody is the data expert, and so he just shared some wisdom there. And like we talked about at the beginning of this webinar, data has changed, analytics, the predictive models and things, and so I want Cody to be able to talk about Leadvine and kind of how they do things here as we wrap things up and we get into the Q&A because they do some amazing things, right? So anyways, I'm loving it, Cody. No, that tangent was beautiful, my friend. So kind of circling back, and I want to dive right back in, guys, and then I want to be respectful of our time. We got the Q&A coming up here. Any questions you have, make sure you put them in the chat, write them down. It looks like almost every single person who has attended this has stuck on, right? And that is a great, thing. Like, as we're doing a webinar like this, if we have all these attendees and people are dropping off left and right, I think almost every person has stayed on. And so that's a huge blessing. We respect your time, guys. And so just guys and gals. And so thank you so much. So circling back to this, you have to have the right data, right? Is there a difference, right, with what Cody was talking about, the shotgun approach, the 10,000 records versus narrowing in? You better believe there is, right? You have to have the right data, the right marketing, the right follow through. Okay. Right marketing, you got to do it consistently. I'm going to kind of go through this rather quickly, but just want to share some additional wisdom. It has to be done consistently. This is the number one area of failure by far. Doing a little bit of marketing for a couple of weeks and then no more. So in order to do it consistently, it has to be simple. Okay. So it has to be consistent. It has to be a numbers game. Even though I like the laser, like sniper approach, and excuse my graphic reference there, I don't like the shotgun approach where you have to try to market to 20,000 records, 100,000 records. Like Cody said, you open yourself up to litigation. You open yourself up to just so much opportunity cost wasted. I like the narrow, almost like sniper approach. And with probates, like I love getting a deal out of a couple hundred records and not having to go through 10,000 records, right? But even with that, it's still going to take more effort. Just being honest and being real, it's going to take more effort than you probably think, and it is still a numbers game. And so, like for example, like when people drive for dollars, right? They'll pen 50 houses or 13 houses. A lot of times it takes a lot more than that, right? There's like folks that are pinning 1,000 properties a week, 2,000 properties a week. Now, I'm not trying to scare you or anything, but it is still a little bit of a numbers game. And so done consistently, it is a numbers game. In my opinion, like one marketing channel, like if you're trying to do a little bit of everything, you spread yourself too thin. He or she who chases two rabbits catches none. So with a single marketing channel, whether it's direct mail, whether it's cold calling, you can really understand what if that's something that's working, and you can get real data back in 10 weeks and not 10 months if you're laser focused. You have to have a fast response time. So when somebody's calling your letter that you send to the executor, it has to be trackable. And there's no reason to reinvent the wheel, right? There's a proven model. And so that's what I'm really, really passionate about, right? People have the right data, but then you can just go in a million directions. And that's what I've just been truly passionate about, is just kind of keeping people on the rails of what actually works. So that this next piece, like we say, the right data and then the right marketing, right? Is once we get this, motivated lead on the phone, we have this hot predictive data, and it's how do we navigate the conversation, which Cody has shared some amazing tidbits of how to have that conversation and how to stand out. And it's one of the reasons we're doing this webinar. Our core values align. I love how he shared that, like, treat this as if it's your own mother, your own grandmother, your own family member that's going through it, right? You're not, there was a saying, and I'm probably butchering it, but it's like, he who is a hammer thinks everything is a nail. You're not trying to beat everyone over the head with like, we buy houses, sell your house. We're not trying to trick people. We're not trying to be sleazy. We're not trying to talk them into things. We want to ask great questions, seek to understand, provide value, treat them as if they're a family member. So there's an art of doing that and being effective and super efficient, right? How to navigate the conversation, what to say it, how to pre-qualify, how to disqualify, how to run appointments, how to do the analysis, how to do the offer, how to do the contracts, and all the little logistics of 1,000 different real situations that will come up on your deals that are not covered in the YouTube University or a course or a weekend seminar or a group coaching program. And that's what I'm so passionate about, coming in and taking people by the hand, helping them to have the right processes and systems and steps. And so, I love taking people by the hand and really helping them dial in what market, what zip codes, what unique angle, making sure we're doing things ethically, legally, the right way, running a real business. What do we need as far as, the core raw things to run this business? How do we keep those costs low? How do we get the right data right? And that's where Cody's coming in. And then as far as getting deals under contract, getting the right deals that make sense, being efficient. And then if you're not going to be keeping those deals as rentals or flipping them yourself, if you're going to be wholesaling them, or even if you are flipping them or keeping them as rentals, how do we work with the title companies and the closing and have processes for each step of the way, so that you can treat this like a real business? And then as you start to get deals coming in, revenue coming in, how do you deal with reinvesting, refining, maybe hiring? A lot of people, including myself, struggle with comparisonitis. I got this from a good friend of mine who's in the same business, and he shared that terminology, comparisonitis. We all do it, right? We compare ourselves. Our chapter 2 to somebody else's chapter 30. And so how do we navigate that? So in terms of a real estate business, two things matter: generating high quality seller leads, talking with those leads, and making quality offers that are in their best interest, not our best interest. If we put them first, the results that we so desperately want will come. So we have to consistently be generating leads and then having those great conversations. And so that's where things can go off the rail, right? You can be cold calling, direct mail, text messaging, RVM, those little automated, messages. PPL, where you're buying leads, radio, TV, networking, referrals, organic outreach, bandit signs, like the physical stuff, the bench ads, billboards, SEO, Google PPC, Instagram ads, Facebook ads. I mean, there's so many marketing channels, and a lot of them are so high dollar marketing channels. And that is where, it gets very, very overwhelming. And so I want you guys, when you think about growing your business and niching down, which is kind of the theme here today, I want you to think about this commitment of reinvesting from profit versus going into debt. So it's this, especially those of you who have yet to do a deal, maybe you've gotten close. It is an absolute mission to get that first large spread deal done as fast as possible. And I'm so passionate about helping people to do that. And as we get that deal done, and we're focusing on one lead source like probate, like pre-foreclosure, like tax delinquent, and one marketing channel, and we're committing to mastery, things start to simplify because we're not trying to be everyone to everybody. We're not trying to do everything. We are laser focused, and that allows us to be so much more effective. And so what if you're able to land 1, 2, 3 deals in the next 90 days? What would that then do? Maybe you feel like, man, I don't even have, Steve, a marketing budget, or barely, or I don't know how I'd scale my business. Well, if you closed, like Elizabeth, that I shared her little video earlier, 23,777. If you close 1 or 2 of those in the next 90 days and you just reinvested about 15%, what would that do for your marketing budget, right? How exciting is that? And so it really is, in my opinion, a matter of focus and sacrifice now, and it will pay off. And so I have a couple slides here about why I love probate. I'm not going to go through them. Cody, I agree with him completely that it's been my #1 lead source. You can see some of the reasons why on the screen, and every single reason that he mentioned, right? So I'll just sit here for just a second so you guys can kind of take this information in. A couple of things that Cody didn't mention. There's a lot of misconceptions. People are like, man, it's a little scary. Like, I don't know all this legal jargon, and you don't really need to, right? Exactly how he mentioned of treating it like it was, your mother's property. Having that approach is so powerful. And again, I'm not gonna rehash that, but I'll leave this on the screen for just a quick second here. So probate is my favorite lead source as well. It has been. And so, just a little snippet of how I work probates, just some practical things. It takes me about 10 hours a week to work my probate system. I do this in 5 counties in my area, which is 1 big county and 4 smaller counties. I get about 35 or 40 records a week. And I mail a personal a letter to the personal representative. It's kind of a longer form letter, and it's a one-page letter. And then I created a little document that I found myself saying over and over to, the hotter leads, the warm leads, that there was really something there. I was understanding, hey, you've probably never sold a house to an investor. That's probably kind of scary. So, let me just zoom back a little bit. If we were to do something like this is kind of what it looks like. And so I put that in form of a additional letter that I include with the first letter, what to expect from us. And that really helps to build trust and helps them to see with their mind, what in the heck is this process going to look like, right? Is this person trying to spam me? Is this person trying to take advantage of me? This is scary. I've never done this before. I'm overwhelmed. What in the heck does this look like? And then I sometimes include another document in there, selling to us as home buyers versus listing it, just again, spelling out their options. And so when I get new leads, Mondays, it takes me about 2 hours. I'm mailing letters out to the probate attorney, and I'm mailing letters out to the executors. And so I have it where it's something that I do in-house. At this stage of the game, I don't because it's like multiple pieces of paper, is something that just my wife or my sister helps me with. And then and then we send a letter to the probate attorney. And so Elizabeth, who you saw on video earlier, this is how that $23,700 wholesale deal came about in Minneapolis. Was the probate attorney respond to the letter that we mailed? Nick, who I'll show you in just a second, that's exactly how he did it as well. I also email the attorneys and I email the executors. Okay. And so I'll typically do that on Tuesday. So Monday is a 2-hour time block to bust out the letters. Tuesday is a 2-hour time block to bust out the emails and to respond. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is a 2-hour time block to call through those 35 or 40 records very, very consistently, right? And so that is a lot of what Cody talked about, and that's a lot of what I work with people, kind of the art of what we're saying, what we're doing, and just keeping it super simple, right? We're not sounding like a telemarketer. We're not being sleazy and salesy. It really is with a servant's heart that we're trying to approach these folks. And it's okay if they're keeping the family, the house in the family. It's okay if you know, and we'll in fact tell people, hey, Miss Jones, like, based off of what you shared with me, like, I don't think I'm the best option. It sounds like the best option is for you to list this. And, you know, and then maybe I'm connecting her with a realtor, or maybe they are keeping it in the family. And then again, there's a few things that I'm sharing with them to help that experience be even better. And then we do go back and we circle back and we hit them with a couple of different postcards throughout the process, just to kind of hit them from a different angle. And then another powerful approach that we do is we build out a separate database of every single probate attorney in the market. So in my market, which is a fairly small market in Ohio, there's 268 probate attorneys. And so we methodically reach out to them in a slightly different capacity that we reach out to them on a week-to-week basis. And we reach out to them monthly via email and phone call, and then quarterly by letter. And the idea is to build relationship and value with those probate attorneys. And, you know, in my market, 268 probate attorneys, if I hit it off with 5 or 10 probate attorneys, and you know, some of these probate attorneys handle 50 cases a year. Some of them handle 10 cases, some 30, some 26, some 34. They're not all going to be a good fit, right? But what if they referred us one? What if we had 10 probate attorneys, because we're staying top of mind on a consistent basis? What if they referred us one deal a year that we could help with? A lot of my testimonials and clients, this is how they got their deals. And it came from free marketing, reaching out to these probate attorneys. So that's kind of what I work with people step by step. How do we do these things? And it adds a lot of revenue to your bottom line if you have a probate attorney that, you know, 5 different probate attorneys out of the 268 that refer you 1 or 2 deals a year out of the 50 that they work. I mean, it's crazy powerful. So tips for shortening your learning curve: commit to one lead type or marketing channel. Go deep and not wide. He who chases 2 rabbits catches none. It's a law of numbers. Most people don't want to sell. Most people want retail. You got to think big. We do want big data, but it needs to be niche data. Don't waste time, especially if you've not done deals, tinkering around with pretty logos, Instagram, fancy CRM, automation, drips, business cards, websites, and a million different subscriptions. You can keep expenses lean. Start talking with people now. The biggest deals come from relationships. So in my opinion, doing this since 2009, full-time since 2011, and working with people one-on-one since 2014, so 10 years of mentoring, you know, I think any money should be that you're spending on your business should be spent on data and marketing and on real mentoring, like one-on-one style. That is what has worked for me, and that is, you know, what I see that truly works for folks. I'm a big believer in personal development and reading 7 pages a day, 7 pages a day, 7 pages a day. Resourcefulness. Write this down. This is one of my favorite quotes. Do what you can from where you are with what you've got. Do what you can from where you are with what you've got. And you must have personal responsibility, right? It stops with you. The buck stops with you. So here's some recommended reading, 7 pages a day. Take a picture of this. Essentialism, The Road Less Stupid, The Slight Edge, Deep Work. Love these books here. These are 4 great ones to start with. The Compound Effect is another one I love by Darren Hardy. Start today, 7 pages, 7 pages, 7 pages. So Nick, I haven't updated this slide in a little bit. He's now done like 13 deals in 12 months. He just graduated from my program, has a baby on the way. Congratulations to him and his beautiful wife. He doesn't even do the executor phone calls and the attorney phone calls like I teach. He just sticks to the mailing. And then in my one-on-one program, I have for folks who are taking down their own properties and also flipping, and they want kind of like to do their own marketing, but they also want other people, whether it's title companies, attorneys, other wholesalers, to bring them deals. I have a module in there about megaphone marketing. And so he crushes it with probate and the free megaphone marketing. And so this slide needs to be updated. Nick has done some amazing things and has really ran with this. Shane Harrison, he was in my program a handful of years back and has gone on to do some amazing things in Charlotte. I'm just going to scroll
That's
through
awesome.
some of
Really
this.
quickly, so hey Steven, so Tom just sent a message. He was asking what offer we're looking to make to webinar attendees today, because
Yes.
he's got to hop off. So I did want to see if maybe we could take a minute to preface that really fast before we get back to some of your success stories.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, go ahead, Cody, if you don't mind, and share what you are offering. I'm offering a free strategy call one-on-one. So, if you are looking to kind of talk through where you're at in your business, no pressure. I don't hire a sales team to do this. It's with me personally. Just head over to stephenhowmentoring.com. Stephen Howe Mentoring. There's a little button where you can book a call. And I'm opening up my calendar tomorrow, Wednesday, from 9 to 5 Eastern. Also Thursday, 9 to 5 and Friday, 9 to 5. And so I know those slots will book up quickly. So if you want to do a free strategy call, 45 minutes of you and I talking about your business and how we can implement some of these things, then go ahead and book a call. And I absolutely love doing those calls. You're not going to get a bunch of pressure from me, but it is for those who are serious about getting some one-on-one help and really making this happen. And so that's my big offer, so to speak, is just to hop on a call if this resonated in your heart, your mind, your belly. And then I know Cody has something amazing for you guys as well.
Now that's huge. Can I book a coaching call with you guys? That's awesome. I mean that's huge. I hope everybody gets how much value that is. So thanks for doing that to people who came over from Leadvine, because that's a huge
Of you guys. And this is just a side note, right? Doing this for as long as I've done it, there's been some wonderful other investors through different masterminds that I've gotten to connect with. And so there's a handful of guys kind of behind the scenes that I see running some big 7-figure operations, some in the very high 6 figures, but they just, kind of like my style where they don't have a ton of employees, a ton of overhead. They're just doing great business. And that's how I connected with Cody. I'm like, they had nothing but great things to say about Leadvine and their data. And so guys, like, definitely go to Leadvine, check out their data, how they do the predictive modeling, connect with Cody and his team, because it is a really, really, really good data. All right. So I'm going to scroll through some of these. Again, none of this is meant for me to brag, but these are just folks following the same process that we're outlining here, focusing on the niche data, staying consistent, keeping things lean, different people, different backgrounds. Todd, I love this. Full-time police officer, 2 young kids, 50 hours a week. He tried a bunch of other programs and just wasn't getting results. And so I've worked with so many people like Todd. These are just, a highlight of a few. So to get this, you do have to have, in my opinion, a niche market. You have to have kind of a unique message. You can't sound like Cody said earlier, like all the tons of cold callers, these like foreign cold callers or just even local US cold callers, these big operations that are just hiring, outsourcing cold call. People are getting beat to death, so to speak, either via text message or cold calling. And it is quite it's not easy, but it's rather simple when you truly care to stand out, to have a unique message. The longest and hardest road, in my opinion, is just going at this alone. There's 10,000 different combinations, right? And so rather than going that hard road, if you are looking to have a predictable way that generates even one large spread wholesale deal every month that can do so consistently, that generates higher quality leads, increases deal spreads, reduces your workload, gives you more predictability. I do right now, I do it all myself. I don't outsource you to anyone. You have my cell phone for a full year. You have a walkie-talkie app. I have a couple of spots open in my mentoring program, and I wanted to time it up with what we were doing here with Cody and Leadvine. And so I do not take just anyone. I want to make sure that it's truly a win-win. So if you are wanting, more red hot leads, more conversions, and just more consistency, then how it works, as I shared, is just head over to Stephen Howell Mentoring. You can click on book a call. If you want to learn any more about me, there's little things you can click on there. You can subscribe to my newsletter. I send out like one or two emails a week just with value. And then we'll hop on a call and just really get a chance to see where you're at, what's going on in your business, what you're looking to accomplish. And, if it's a good fit, if I truly believe I can help you, I'll extend that offer to work with you one-on-one for a full year. If I feel like maybe there's something better for you, I will gladly point you in a better direction. So this is definitely not going to be something where you're spending $10,000 or $25,000. I've had so many people, unfortunately, come to me that have invested $47,000, $54,000, $32,000 in these national high-level programs that are promising to teach them wholesaling and flipping and Airbnbs and wholesaling and all the different business models, and they have a plethora of videos, but like they don't know what to do, like step 1, step 2, step 3. And it breaks my heart. And so, my little niche of the pie, so to speak, is I just want to show people what I've done all these years, what's worked for me. And so I truly do this one-on-one. So I can only work with about 10 or 12 people at a time because I still operate my local real estate business. And so that's the capacity that I have, like integrity and being faithful on the back end to truly be there for you step by step is so important to me. And once I get above like 10 clients or 12 clients or so, I'm at that capacity. So these spots will go quickly. So if all it did was give you the kick in the butt you've been needing, or maybe help you to do your very first wholesale deal or large spread deal, or finally allow you to be profitable or get consistent doing even one deal a month, or give you the confidence, would that be worth it? And so it's this is whether you're brand new. I've worked with a lot of intermediate, even some advanced clients, whether you're an agent, you believe that you can truly help people. You're good at what you do. You want to get even better, and you understand that you have to have some skin in the game. Just the only disclaimer is this strategy call, this one-on-one mentoring is not for folks who just like the idea of having a real estate business, or who make excuses or complain, or who are just, stuck with being comfortable in information gathering mode, who like just attending, webinars, but aren't prepared to put in the effort and the work, and who are not serious about growing their business by another 100 or 250K a year, which is really 1 to 2 deals a month. So That being said, I am again opening up the few spots I have for one-on-one mentoring. Just basically today through Friday. It does end on Friday. My calendar will be open the next 3 days, and so the process to go through that. Again, if you just head over to Stephen Howe Mentoring, you click on book a call, you fill out a little bit of information, and I'll hop on a call with you. So yeah, Cody, man, sorry, I know that the end there was a little long-winded, but I just wanted to really paint that picture for those because I know that when people are doing this and I'm able to come alongside them for a year, they really stick in this. And as they start getting that traction, it is a game changer. And and it starts with having the right data. And so that's why, man, I'm excited for what you're doing. And yeah, man, I appreciate you coming out. But any final closing thoughts that you have, Cody, about your data, Leadvine, or we can open it up to a Q&A, and I want to be respectful of everyone's time, but I hope in my heart that this has brought you guys some value. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I know we're a little silly here, a little goofy, but just yeah, hope this has resonated, and it's been a pleasure. So.
Yeah, and I appreciate you having me, Stephen. In terms of one takeaway for the folks who stuck around, just provide value. Be real, be a real person. Talk with them. Your sales pitch. Don't even think of it like that. You're just talking with them, seeing what they need, providing value when you can. People want to work with people they like, and if you do that, they're much more likely to like you than a VA, doing the We Buy Houses for Cash spiel. But yeah.
Absolutely. I love that. So I encourage you guys to head over to Leadvine. As Cody mentioned, 10% off for the 6-month package and 15% off for the 12-month package for those who have attended the webinar here. And so love how you guys are gathering the data and how you deliver it, man, just incredible. Guys, any questions in the chat here? We'd love to be able to answer those.
Grace asked earlier, what do you say in a letter to a probate attorney? Do you have any feedback on that?
Yeah, so I take the approach with the attorney. So I'll reach out to them in that letter about a specific property that's in the blank blank estate, and I'll let them know that I have an interest in the property. I let them know that I've been doing this for a while, and first and foremost, like we have this servant's heart, like we're reaching out to the family. We know a lot of times they probably, similar to what you said, they probably want to just keep it in the family, or it might even be in amazing shape, and they've probably already decided that they're going to list it with a realtor. But we also have found that a percentage, that they're a little bit overwhelmed. Maybe they're out of town, out of state, or the house is just pretty dilapidated and they're a little bit overwhelmed. And so we are able to help serve those families. We don't pressure folks. So whether if they have any estates on their desk right now that like have kind of a problem property that like the family, is just like, man, what are we going to do? We'd love to come out and see it. We're, looking to pick up a few more right now. Or this particular property, on Oak Street, we're very much interested. But again, similar approach, like they're probably going to keep it in the family. They're probably going to list it. So that's the approach that we take with the attorneys. And then I'll even go a little further in the letter to let them know, hey, like we know the parts of town we're looking in, we know the price points, as far as communication, we'll keep it short and sweet. They don't need to babysit us. We're not going to pester them to death. We know exactly what we're looking for. And we're doing a lot of marketing. We talk to a lot of different homeowners. Some of them haven't even gone through probate yet. So we'd love to be able to refer them some business too. So those are
Yeah.
kind of a few high points that we put in that letter.
I love how you mentioned too that a lot of people aren't going to be the right fit for what wholesalers and investors can do, and that's completely correct. Yeah, I mean you can do the best sales pitch in the world. They can absolutely love the heck out of you, and yet you're not the right fit for them. And so that's something to just keep in the back of your mind that you might not be the right fit, right? It depends on what they want to do with the property. It depends on what they want, and that's one thing that I would carry with me with every conversation I had to an executor is I would say, hey, you know. Um, I don't want the deal that bad, right? I don't want the deal that bad. I want them to be happy with their decision. And if I happen to fall into that, great. If I can provide value to help them, even if it's not, going to benefit me directly, great, right? And people can read that energy. It's very hard to fabricate that energy. You really have to get into a mindset and a mind frame where you literally just want to help, right?
Absolutely.
And that can make all the difference in the world. But I would say, I still get we still get no's all the time. We get way more no's than we get yeses. And that's expected. And then the other thing too is if the house is in great shape, be intuitive about that too, because there might not be, it might not fit in your wheelhouse anyway, right? And then at that point, don't spend a ton of time on properties that are, not the best fit for what you're trying to do as well. Because just like they're vetting you, you're kind of vetting them too. It's like,
Yeah,
can I work with you? Do I want to invest my time into helping, you long term, uh, if you're not even a fit for what I do, right? So
exactly. Exactly.
yeah.
Awesome, Cody. All right, guys. Well, any final questions before we sign off here? All right. I don't see anything else right now. So yeah, hope you guys got a ton of value. This was a ton of fun. Cody, I appreciate your time, man. And it's good to see you again. And yeah, everybody have an awesome afternoon.
Thanks, everybody.